Hey everybody, this is Dr. Chris Dost. Welcome back to my channel, Biblical Languages and Literature. Today we're going to be looking at feminine singular determined adjectives in the Hebrew Aramaic Bible. So essentially we're looking at, the relevant portions of Daniel and Ezra. So feminine singular determined forms of adjectives. Before we begin, please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click the bell to be notified when I publish future lessons on this channel. And if you would, share this video on social media to help me get the word out about this channel if you find it helpful. You know where to leave comments and questions, and if you do, I'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible. All right, let's get started. Okay, so the first feminine singular determined adjective we're going to look at is rabta, which we find in Daniel 4:27. Daniel 4:27. And the text reads, Ane malka v'amar, hala da hi bavel rabta, diana v'naita, levet malchu, bitkaf chesni, v'li kar hadri. So the king answered and said, we have those two participles there, the king answered and said, is this not, hala da hi, is this not, bavel rabta. So Bavel, Babylon, being a place name, is feminine, and therefore the adjective has to be feminine, and it has to be determined because place names, personal names, are inherently definite because they refer to a specific place. And that's why it's Bavel Rabta. And so the Tav is a feminine singular ending, which precedes the Aleph of determination, roughly equivalent to the definite article in Hebrew. The feminine singular absolute form of this adjective doesn't occur in the Tanakh or the Hebrew Bible, but we do see it in the Targumim. So if we have a look over in Genesis 7:11 in Hebrew, it says, B'shnat shesh meot shana lechaye Noach b'chodesh hasheni b'sheva yom lachodesh b'yom hazeh nivka'u kol ma'yanot tehom rabah va'u bot hashemayim niftachu. In the 600th year of the life of Noah, in the second month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day, or on this particular day, all the fountains of the great deep and the windows of heaven were opened. And so tehom rabbah is a feminine singular adjectival phrase. Tehom is indefinite, meaning deep, and rabbah as an attributive adjective needs to be feminine singular undetermined as well. And so when we go over to the Aramaic, in Targum Onkelos, we get Itbiza'u kol mabue tehom rabbah v'chavei dishmaya itpetacha. Bioma hadein, on this particular day, Itbiza'u kol mabue tehom rabbah, all of the fountains of the great deep were split open, v'chavei dishmaya itpetacha, and the windows of heaven were opened. And tehom rabbah shows up here in Aramaic as well. And so this is a case where the Aramaic feminine singular adjectival form is exactly like it is in Hebrew. It shows the overlap between Hebrew and Aramaic. But here in Daniel 4:27, we have the feminine singular determined form. Bavel Rabta, Babylon the Great. All right, the next verse we're going to look at is Daniel 7:4, where we encounter the form Kadmaita. And this means the first. And so you can see in the lexicon here, the hypothetical form, the lexical entry is kadmai, which means first, earlier, former. We have to remember that the Aramaic content of the Tanakh is very small, and therefore, for many words, we're not going to see them in all of their possible forms. We're not going to get every feminine adjective in the singular absolute, in the singular determined, in the plural absolute, the plural determined, the construct forms. And so what we see here in Daniel chapter 7 and verse 8 is the feminine singular determined form, kadmaita. So we have the phrase, kadmaita ke'aryeh. The first was like a lion. Kadmaita ke'aryeh. And so we see the Tav Aleph ending, Tav being the feminine singular tag, which shows up before the Aleph of determination. And notice that this is preceded by the schwa. We see a schwa underneath the yud. that is going to indicate to us that it is singular. We saw that also in rabta before. Rabta, you notice the schwa before the tav. That indicates that it's singular, the tav indicates that it's feminine, and the aleph indicates that it is determined. So, kadmaita charyeh, the first was like a lion. Now, why is it feminine? The first what? If we go back to the previous verse, Daniel 7:3, we see this. Va'aba chevan rav ravan, salkan min yama, shanyan da min da. And this means 4 beasts, and beasts is a feminine singular word. The lexical form is cheva. This is a feminine plural absolute. Chevan. So 4 beasts, and then we get the feminine plural form of the adjective. We're going to deal with those in a different video. 4 great beasts, salkan. And this is a feminine plural absolute participle. 4 great beasts came up, min yama, from the sea. Shanyan, feminine plural absolute participle, differing, da min da. And da is a feminine singular demonstrative, differing, literally this from this, but we would say in English differing from one another. But the point is, the beasts are all, linguistically anyway, feminine. Chevan is a feminine word, and therefore when we come to Daniel 7:4, we get kadmaita, the first. It's going to be the feminine form because it's referring back to the feminine singular noun cheva for beast. Okay, the next one is Daniel 7:19. And there we have Edain tzvit liat sava al chevta reviaita dihavat shanya min kalhen. So then I desired to learn or to ascertain al chevta, about the beast, reviaita, the fourth, dihavat, which was, shanya, different, min kalhen. So then I desired to learn about the beast, the fourth, so we would say the fourth beast, which was different from all of them. So chevata is a feminine singular determined noun. We saw this before, cheva. It becomes chevata when it's determined. And therefore, since there's an attributive adjective following it, or we would say the adjective is functioning attributively, it has to be feminine singular determined as well. And so the word for fourth in this case would be reviaita. The aleph is for determination, the tav makes it feminine, and then you'll notice, even though the accent, the munach there, gets in the way, there is a schwa before it, which indicates that it's singular. And so, chevta, reviaita, the fourth beast. And of course, because it's feminine, dihavat, we get the feminine singular verb, which was dihavat, shanya, feminine singular participle. All right, now Ezra 4:12. Yedia leheve lemalka, let it be known to the king. Di Yehudaye, that the Judeans, di Yehudaye, disliku min levatach, who came up from you, alena, to us, disliku min levatach alena, who came up from you to us, ato l'Yerushalem, they went to Jerusalem, Kiryata, you see in the word city, it has the aleph of determination, the tav making it feminine, which is preceded by a schwa making it singular, feminine singular determined noun. And therefore the attributive adjective that follows has to be feminine singular determined, and we get maradta, which means rebellious, and we see all the same features, the aleph, the tav, and the preceding schwa. But there's a second attributive adjective, uvishta, and wicked, which also contains the aleph, the tav, preceded by the schwa, making it singular. So we have to read kiryata, maradta, uvishta together as a phrase meaning the rebellious and wicked city, the rebellious and wicked city. Kiryata, maradta, uvishta. Now just for ha-has, let's go over to the Targums, the ancient Aramaic translations of the Bible, and look for and identify some feminine singular determined adjectives. Let's start with Genesis 9:10. This is an easier phrase. Let's look at the Hebrew first. Ve'et kol nefesh hachaya asher itchem. Literally, and every creature of the life, we would translate it into English as every living creature, and every creature of the life which is with you. Ve'et kol nefesh hachaya asher itchem. However, in the Targum, we get something a little bit different. V'im kol nafsha chayta di'imchon. And literally translated, it comes out as, and with all the living creature, the living, v'im kol, and with all the creature, nafsha, chayta is the adjective feminine singular meaning living. And with every living creature, we would probably translate it as the imchon, that is with you, the imchon. Let's look at another one. Genesis 10:12. The Hebrew has ve'et resen ben ninveh uven kalach hi ha'ir hagdolah. Ve'et resen ben ninveh uven kalach hi ha'ir hagdolah, which translates to, and Resen, which is between Nineveh and Kalach, it is the great city. The Targum has Viat Resen ben Ninveh uven Kalach hi karta rabta. Hi karta rabta. So the first part of the verse is the same. And Resen, between Nineveh and Kalach, it is the great city. Karta, feminine singular, noun, determined. Rabta, feminine singular, adjective, determined. Hi karta rabta. How about Genesis 21:9? Let's read the Hebrew first. Bater Sarah et ben Hagar hamitzrit asher yalda leAvraham mitzachek, which means, and Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, and here Egyptian refers to Hagar because it's hamitzrit, feminine singular. So, and Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she bore to Abraham, laughing. Now let's go over to the Targum. The Targum has Vachzat Sarah yad bar Hagar mitzreta diledat la'Avraham mechayech, which translates the same as the Hebrew. Interestingly, just as a side note, Targum Neophiti and Targum Pseudo-Jonathan add some additional information. Targum Neophiti, I'll just read the translation, is, then Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, doing deeds that are not proper as he was bowing down to an idol. But we're not going to get into that right now. Our concern is simply linguistic. And here, the feminine singular determined adjective is mitzreta, which means the Egyptian. So Hagar, which is determined or definite because it refers to a person. Hagar mitzreta, the Egyptian Hagar, or Hagar the Egyptian, we would say. Well, please be sure to check out my entire library of Aramaic videos. We have videos for learners of all different levels. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell to be notified when I publish additional videos, and please be sure to share this video on social media. I really appreciate your supporting the channel. We'll see you next time.